Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory with Will and Tad. We're here to continue our preseason series. This episode today is about the Chicago Bears. So we're going to get into the Chicago Bears and discuss how we think their season is going to go. Yeah, obviously Caleb Williams is going into his second season. We know that the Bears went through obviously a coaching change midseason last year. So how they come back from that, we'll get into that. But yeah, Caleb Williams, on the other hand, to me, Caleb Williams, former Heisman Trophy winner out of USC, and he's now in his second year. I think that he's still obviously, you know, would you have loved to have seen what happened, like with say a Jaden Daniels, that kind of a breakout? Sure, but that didn't necessarily happen. The NFL, it's very hard to win at the NFL level. And especially with the Chicago Bears team that's in a very tough division, a Chicago Bears team that's still rebuilding. So Caleb Williams is going to have to go out there, keep staying resilient. If there's anything that Caleb Williams is going to have to do, he's going to keep having to persevere. He's going to keep having to stay resilient. He's going to keep having to go out there, be a leader, elevating his game week by week, day by day. Um, and that's exactly what the Chicago Bears are paying him and trusting him to do. I'm certainly confident that he can get there, that he can still be a quarterback at the NFL level. I don't believe that,
Oh yeah,
he's a bust by any means or anything like
no,
that. I just still
definitely
think
not.
that he needs some more developmental time. And I truly do believe that he's going to be an upper echelon quarterback in the league at some point, when it's all said and done. So,
And you have to remember, last year they lost a lot of close games that weren't exactly on Caleb Williams. I mean, you have the blocked field goal against the Packers. You have obviously the time issue on Thanksgiving against Detroit, and of course the Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels. So I mean, the Bears. I mean, Caleb Williams. He had some struggles. I mean, he had some bumps as a rookie, but I still think this is a very talented quarterback. Has a whole lot of potential. He was drafted number one overall for a reason, and I think there's potential for him to show that. I think he has a much better situation around him. Of course, we're going to talk about the offensive line a little later, but I think with that, it's going to be a much better shape. And I think there's a big chance that we're going to see a second year bounce back for Caleb Williams. I think he has a lot of potential this year.
yeah, I mean, I certainly believe that. I mean, he has everything it takes to develop into that player. So just give him some time, be patient with him, see what he can really do, see what he can really bring to the table. I, he there. We saw some big time moments, some big time throws, some big time plays. Like we've seen the talented moments, we've seen the eliteness that can definitely be there. He has that potential. I just still think he needs some time. Yeah, the running back room. Looking at the running back room, DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. Yeah, DeAndre Swift to me, I would definitely rank him in the top half amongst running backs. Fifth year pro now out of Georgia. And yeah, I mean, he scored 6 touchdowns last year. So I know it was probably tough to see his former team go on to win the Super Bowl, especially with how everything turned out with that. But that is the business of the NFL. And he's gonna look to do what he needs to do to get the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's every team's goal. So he'll do everything he needs to do to play his part. Um, yeah, Roshan Johnson though, Roshan Johnson to me, he also had 6 touchdowns. He's one of the more silently good running backs in the league, even for an RB2, even for an RB2
Mhm.
role.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And I also want to say, don't sleep on seventh round draft pick Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. I think this has the potential to be a fairly deep running back room. I mean, I think we could see a three-way committee even to an extent. I mean, obviously Swift is going to be the leader, but Kyle Monangai is a very quality power back. I mean, he was a solid bruiser in the Big Ten, and I think he could have another. I think he could have an impact. So I would say don't sleep on him.
I'm very excited to see how that can transpire for sure. I'm also excited to see Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. Look for
Mhm.
Caleb Williams to get Colston Loveland involved a lot. Luther Burden the third, the wide receiver out of Missouri. You go out and draft him as well. You do add to the offensive line, so that's good news. Ozzie Trapillo, the offensive tackle out of Boston College. So yeah, again, adding to that offensive line, you're going to need that for Caleb Williams' development, and if you want to keep building this thing as the Chicago Bears.
For sure.
Another offensive tackle, Luke Newman, the offensive tackle out of Michigan State. So some very solid offensive draft picks there for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that all turns out. I think adding Luther Burden to the wide receiver room, I think that's going to do a lot of good. I think
I want
Caleb
to
Williams
see.
has some good weapons here.
I just want to see if Cole Komet as a tight end can like break to the next level. If Cole Komet can elevate his game, if he can transcend into the next tier as one of the more upper tier tight ends of the league, or does he just end up being where he's at? I mean, gonna be very interesting to see there with Cole Komet how he
Yeah.
evolves as a tight end in the NFL.
Definitely, yeah. Interested to see that. Interested to see how the receiver room evolves. I mean, Romo Dunze into his second year out of Washington. Can he build a better connection with Caleb Williams? There were times where the connection it wasn't working to its highest potential in both of their rookie years. And I think Roma Dunce has potential to be a bit of a breakout player. Of course, DJ Moore, the veteran, he'll do what he's always done. I have faith in him to do his job. I think this has potential to be a sneakily good wide receiver room.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's tough for me not to say that this is probably still the fourth ranked team for me in the NFC North. Um, and that's not like a knock on the Bears. It's just a tough division for
Agreed.
for sure. So the Bears are going to have an extremely tough time. Shifting gears to the defense, obviously the most intriguing add to this defense would have to be Montez Sweat, former first rounder out of Mississippi State. You add him on the edge. You also have Grady Jarrett there on the inside. Gervin Dexter Sr. as well. I mean, this defensive line. To me, PFF does have them ranked number 18. I might be a little bit more higher on them than that. I certainly think that this is going to need to be a defensive line that, in a very tough NFC North, is going to have to really get after the quarterback. Can they find a way to force blitzes and force pressures
Mhm.
against some upper tier offensive lines for say in the NFC and in the NFC North?
Mhm. Yeah, I would say I'm probably not quite as high on the defensive line as you are. I think that it's going to be interesting to see if they can come together. I want to see how that grows together, but I think it could definitely be interesting. They do add Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M in their second round, so that's going to be an interesting add there. And you also draft Ruben Hippolyte, the second, the linebacker out of Maryland, and he's immediately coming into a big role, projected to be the starter as their strong side linebacker, and that's a big role as a fourth round rookie. So we're gonna see how that goes. And briefly to mention Zoff Frazier, the cornerback out of Texas San Antonio. So some interesting draft picks there. But looking specifically at Hippolyte, what's your take on having the fourth round draft pick immediately come in and be your starter in the linebacker room?
Yeah, that's going to be a big role, Tad. A big role indeed. I mean, and Ruben Hippolyte. I mean, even at Maryland, showed even that he had that NFL potential, that NFL talent. He's going to get his chance right off the bat to show what he can do. I mean, this was a man that was definitely birthed to be a linebacker in the NFL. So he's doing exactly what he was put on this earth to do,
Mhm.
and that's to play football. Like that man was literally born to play football. He's a competitor. He's a tremendous athlete. and I think he's going to be bringing a lot of excitement and heat to this Bears defense.
Yeah, we definitely could see that. That's certainly what they're hoping for. So for me, I will say the front seven, looking at that, that's probably my biggest question mark on this team is can the front seven grow together? I know like Hippolyte's young, they do have some young players and also some veterans. So can they get it together? Tremaine Edmonds is gonna have to be a leader in that linebacker room. The veteran there, TJ Edwards as well. So can they come together? I think that's my big question in the front seven.
Yeah, the front seven's going to have to come together, because it's kind of makeshifty in a sense. I'm a little bit
Mhm.
bigger on the secondary, though, when it comes to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, I really do like Jalen Johnson out of Utah. Tyreek Stevenson. Obviously, Tad, we know that one moment from Tyreek Stevenson in the Jaden Daniels game, but let's not discount the fact that Tyreek Stevenson also had a game-winning pick six in his first ever NFL game. I'm big on Tyreek Stevenson and what he can
Yeah,
transcend
I think
into.
he's a player that can grow. He's gonna learn from a high level cornerback in Jalen Johnson, who, in my opinion, he's the best player on the defense. If I had to make that statement, I think this has potential to be a solid secondary with him, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard leading the safety room. I think the potential is definitely there. I'm a bit higher on the back end than the front seven, so I think they're going to have to do a lot of work here to do what they do. Kyler Gordon as a nickel, also high level player. So I think that's where the potential is for me. So I'm interested to see how this defense comes together. It's like I said, it's going to be difficult in this division, as we know. We've talked about it. I'd say like the NFC North, top to bottom, might be the toughest division in the NFC.
Yeah, for sure. Cairo Santos will be the called upon field goal kicker. He's in his 12th year now out of Tulane. Probably one of the greatest players to ever come out of Tulane. He certainly could have made a better choice as to what team he was drafted to. I'm kidding. But yeah, he's been on the Bears for quite some time. So he will be playing with his sixth season with the Bears. So yeah, Cairo Santos, a seasoned veteran kicker in the league, a very solid kicker. Tory Taylor, the second year punter out of Iowa, he will also be called on to hold. Devin Duvernay will be the return man. But yeah, if the Bears want to get to the next level, who is that guy, Dad?
They don't know yet, quite frankly. They don't know who that guy is yet because they have a long snapper battle. And I think this is one of the most exciting things to cover. We've talked about a lot here with this team. We have two of your college rivals here, Scott Daly from the University of Notre Dame going head to head with Luke Elkline out of the University of Iowa. So the incumbent is Scott Daly. He was their long snapper in the past. He's a bit more of a veteran. He was undrafted in 2017. So we're going to see how that goes. He joined the Bears in 2024 and he started a bit in lieu of their injured player that year. So then you bring in Luke Elkline out of Iowa. He was undrafted this year. So this is his rookie year. He was signed as an undrafted free agent, and he does have history with Tory Taylor, obviously, also out of Iowa. He was Tory Taylor's long snapper for the majority of his collegiate career. So I think this is going to be one of the real storylines to watch in this Chicago team. Will they go with the veteran or the rookie in the long snapper room? Stay tuned and we'll find out. So, as for me, looking at the Bears as a whole, I think that we could see a very much improved team, especially with some of the additions they made on the offensive line, bringing in Joe Thuney, bringing in Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson. I think that's going to really help shift the Bears. I think there's a lot of potential for them to make a run. It's going to be difficult with the division. I think this could be a team that wins, I'll say 6 to 10 maybe wins, but I mean, just because of how tough of a division it is.
I am not as big on Chicago as you. You might be a bit more optimistic on Chicago than me. I'll say anywhere 5 to 9 wins.
Yeah, so about a difference of a win. I'd say that's fairly interesting there. So, yes, thank you all for watching this video here from the Gridiron Glory, and please continue to like, subscribe, and follow our content. Thanks for watching.